Greetings, hello and welcome back to a bit of a different video. So in this video I'm going to be talking a little bit about the mod setup we used in the last campaign, more specifically most of the feedback analysis, I don't know what to call it, is going to be about the Covert Infiltration mod and how it changed the campaign, how it impacted things. Before I kick off though with any specific feedback, I just want to throw out a few disclaimers. Also, like a lot of this video will be just me talking and more or less static image in the background. Maybe I find some ideas to make this more interesting for the eyes in the future, but for now that's what you have to deal with. Okay, disclaimers. First of all, I have the utmost respect for any modders, and I think they're all awesome. Mods are really great thing that keep a game alive, that increase longevity. I have almost 3,000 hours in XCOM 2, and I don't think I would have had that without all the awesome mods that exist. And it's people that like use their free time to create something for the community, for everybody to use. And so any sort of feedback or even criticism I have is really with that kind of respect in mind, that I'm not going to be demanding anything here. I don't want to talk down to anyone, and it's, you know, this kind of mindset that I have there. So I'll try to use that in any sort of feedback that I say, but so please keep that in mind. Also, maybe something whenever you give some feedback to a modder, be it in a comment on Steam or in a random Discord chat, keep that in mind. It's people using their free time, their energy, their creativity to make the game more interesting for all of us, for free. So that's cool. Second of all, anything I say here in this video is, you know, just like my opinion, man. I don't claim that I have the absolute truth here. It's just my opinion, also based on this one campaign now that I played with this specific mod setup. So I don't claim to have the absolute truth or the absolute facts. This whole feedback is biased by this. And I might be wrong with some aspects, I might be right, I don't know. Don't take my word for gospel. So get a pinch of salt ready. Should be plenty of salt from this campaign from me. Anyway, then also when I may say this is biased by this campaign, any sort of feedback is a little bit biased and maybe tainted by the specific mod setup I had running in this campaign. Now, what do I mean by that when I say tainted? Let me elaborate a little bit on that. So, the general consensus when it comes to XCOM 2 among many players is basically there's sort of this inverse difficulty curve where the game gets easier the further you get into the campaign. So now you have a bunch of modders that think, you know what, I want to do something about this, and they come up with ideas. So we have this whole Covert Infiltration system, which due to the Covert Infiltration taking your soldiers out of the field longer, and they might be leveling up slower. The economy is different because you have to buy weapons individually. You kind of your progression is a little bit stalled out, right? Then another modder has an idea, you know what, I make the enemies smarter, I introduce new enemies, and I introduce special prime enemies that are gonna pose an additional challenge in the late game. Also an interesting idea. Another modder might have the idea, hey, let's just increase the number of enemies on the mission, increase the pot size by the force level to have more engagement. And maybe there's a fourth modder who says, hey, I have an idea for a class pack where the classes are different and maybe a little bit weaker than the vanilla classes. More situational abilities and not so overpowered mission-winning stuff at the end of the tree. And then there is this one player who says, great, I take all 4 of those mods. And of course you then have a little bit of an issue where there's no way in hell these mods are balanced against each other, and nobody would expect that, right? So any sort of balancing commentary needs to keep that in mind, that basically the burden of balancing is with the player, not with the modders. Exception to that is, of course, like things that are contained in a mod. Like I can totally say, you know what, that Advanced Skirmisher being able to grapple away Injustice on reveal is bullshit. And that's just something that's contained in that one mod, right? But yeah, any sort of other campaign-wide balancing, that's really my own fault for the kind of mods I'm combining here. Right, so let's get to some mod-specific feedback for Covert Infiltration. So I think one of the design goals, or like in the description, I remember reading something that the goal was to avoid some of the frustration that you might have with the way Long War 2 handles missions. Basically, as I understand it, let's see a typical Long War 2 situation. You scan in an area, you have your people on intel, they find a mission, you say, oh great, supply rate, and then you look and it's like, oh, I have 12 hours to do something about it, can't infiltrate it. Okay, that's 1 minute of my life of excitement I'm not getting back there. So the great thing, well, Covert Infiltration here handles that any mission you see you can potentially do, right? Depending on whether or not you have the people available for that. So there's a little bit less frustration on that part, and it's really more about managing your crew and managing your barrack size. Let me just have a quick read through my... I did take some notes. Alright. Yeah, that brings me basically... Let me just go to the geoscape here. That brings me then to this. So basically, with having my available troops, you know, my ready troops in mind, anything of this I can do. Anything of these covert actions, or also I don't think we have any actual infiltration missions here right now, but yeah, anything of these I can do. By the way, as an interface suggestion, like, you know, sometimes you have just covert actions, sometimes you have actual missions here. Maybe an icon here, crossed swords for an actual combat mission, and a stealth icon for just covert actions to better tell them apart. Or maybe that's just my dumb self not recognizing the few combat missions that there are. But anyway, yeah, anything I want to do, I can do. And that's great. That's some more control in the player and some less RNG frustration. Because we already have enough RNG frustration in the tactical missions, we don't need it on the strategy layer. So that brings me also, since we have it up here right now, to the interface. I was blown away at the start here about the covert infiltration interface, the infiltration interface, like the covert action stuff here, like all these kind of details. Then at the start of the campaign, if you remember, there were all these tutorial pop-ups explaining the different mechanics in a really nice way. That's just an awesome way of using the resources that the game has, and probably cutting some corners to make the game do that. So huge props to the modding team there. Talking about the infiltration screen, I loaded a save game where we actually have an infiltration mission happening. So This is, in my opinion, also really nice. I really like that system of the distinct bonuses, each 25-ish%. 175 is missing. It would be really nice to see how much time it would take me to hit the next step. When I make the decision, do I want to over-infiltrate a little bit longer, or do I run the mission now? Like, okay, how long it's gonna take me to reach 150%? I'm not sure from a pure UX, UI perspective where to put that information right now. I just know that I really would like to have it somewhere. I don't know, maybe infiltration time to next breakpoint, 1 day, 6 hours or so. If that is even easy to do. Like, that's just an idea I had. Yeah. What else? Quick check my note. Yeah, I like also the way the it ties in with the sitrep system here, that like basically if you have negative sitreps, you can eliminate them with over-infiltration. There are really some interesting decisions in the campaign where we had some really nasty sitreps, and I thought, okay, we just have to get to 200%, then we eliminate it. Happy fun times. So generally happy with this. I'm not too sure. So a few times we did a 250% infiltration, and this random sitrep was really strong. I remember we had the full map recon, we had tactical analysis, and we had the third one that I don't remember right now. I'm not sure if it's too strong or if it's just really at that point worth the investment. Like, you wouldn't want to infiltrate with 250% and then just get, oh, you get another 5% crit. That would be disappointing. So I want to say it's okay right now, but maybe some more middle ground might be needed. That's probably just needs more feedback, more missions, because I think we only did it like 3 times or so hard to say. Then yeah, let's talk about the dark events, I guess. No, let's not. Before I go there, let me actually just go to this one more time. One thing I'm not 100% sure about yet is stat bonuses for the missions, right? You know, you have that in Vanilla War of the Chosen, where you get these bonuses, and we had even the promotion bonus, and I know that during the campaign I had some issues with my roster, so I wasn't running that many missions, but there is some risk of this being, I almost want to say, abused in a way. Like, I know that in the Long War of the Chosen beta, why it still had the stat bonuses, I think most of those are gone now. Like, some people were just sending the same soldier on mission after mission to get mobility, and then end up with the 30 mobility assault or something like that. So hard to balance around these. Then again, they are, most of the time, they are actually a bigger motivator than what I'm getting out of the mission. So something to keep in mind. Then again, I also don't think balancing around like extreme examples of player behavior is a good idea. Like, if I want to go to the extreme with the game, then at the end of the day, I'm the one ruining my own fun if I take the challenge out of the game, and just saying, oh, but the game allows it, is a weak argument, because the game also allows me to open the console and win the mission that way. So yeah. What's next on my list of notes? You know what's next? A sip of water. Okay, and generally, it felt a little bit that covert actions were taking a little bit too long. Especially the Hunt the Chosen stuff. Part of the issue is, of course, if we go back to the ship, that this engineering position in vanilla War of the Chosen, it reduces the covert action time. Now that would be too strong probably if you run so many actions in parallel, but that wildcard order slot wasn't really enticing. I don't think we ever had someone in there. So, a little bit torn on that one. Then, next big question, I don't know, is around tired and shaken soldiers from covert actions. I think we had that a few times where, so of course they go on covert action, they come back tired, that's fine. The problem arises basically when we have an ambush on the mission happening. So they do the covert action, they end up being tired, the ambush triggers, and then you have tired soldiers on the ambush mission, and if you survive it, some of the guys some of the guys did not survive the covert actions, most importantly Operation Skyface, where all our 3 soldiers on that covert action ambush were wiped out. Anyway, so if they aren't wiped out, they then get shaken because of the ambush, and I think the shaken mechanic is a good mechanic for kind of punishing you for sending a tired soldier into combat, like willingly, but you don't really have an influence on whether or not you get an ambush or not. If you can't counter it, what you gonna do? Not run the covert action? That's obviously not an option, especially when it's Hunt the Chosen. So, I always feel like the game should be rewarding me if doing something right and punishing me if I'm doing something wrong. And that's somehow in the middle there, where I'm being punished even though I don't feel like I'm doing something wrong. So I don't know what the ideal solution is, because I think it's tricky getting the you can't remove the tiredness from the covert action completely, because then you're just spamming them, and I'm not sure if you can make an exception just for ones with ambush. Maybe making sure that you always have an option to counter ambush through something in the mission setup might be an option. Now, what else? Crew limit. So I'm a little bit on the on the edge of my seat about that. So it felt a little bit like and again that was my decision in this specific campaign, restricted myself too much in terms of engineers and scientists, and prioritized soldiers, which really then dragged on the campaign. Late game research was super slow. Excavations took an eternity to finish all the buildings, and of course, like, if you go the other way around, then you might have in a situation where you don't have enough soldiers to complete all the missions. That being said, maybe I prioritized missions and especially dark event counters too much, simply because I had another mod in the campaign which added these nasty improved dark events here, right? If I had vanilla dark events, then maybe going to the activity chains, maybe I wouldn't have done all these counter dark events like every month. Maybe there would have been way more dark events where I could have just said, yeah, I'll ignore that. Cost of new recruits going up. Oh no, yeah, anyway, let's go on to the next mission and be able to do more of the other missions. Which leads me directly into my next note on my notepad here. Mission variety. I think some people also mentioned that in my channel update comments a little bit, where there was just too much blow up the statue gatecrasher happening, and it felt very repetitive. And while I really appreciate having the gatecrasher mission not just being one-off, but like reappearing again and again, it was a bit too much. But is that the fault of the mod? Or is it my fault because, again, prioritizing the dark event counters, which always had this, because of the nasty dark events I was having in the game? I want to say it's somewhere in the middle, with probably a tendency more being the fault on my side, and having this dark events actually being meaningful. And again, they should be meaningful. So, what did I put in my note? Too much gatecrasher, not enough hacking mission, I think, like hack the device, hack something from a train, from a car, steal item, this kind of thing. I felt was way too little happening. We also had a drag on intel through the whole campaign, and then the only regular mission that gave intel rewards was always to protect the device, and oh boy, that has some issues in the late game. So maybe something can be done about mission variety. Not sure what the ideal solution is. Talking about mission variety, supply rates, and crate extraction missions. So let's have a quick talk about those. I like, well, of course, having these two, and then also the UFO rate is a good variety on the missions that give you alloy silurium supplies. So that's great. Crate extraction missions, I'm not sure if the balance is 100% there yet. And again, it's a little bit hard to judge, considering, again, I had stronger enemies, I had bigger pot sizes raining down on me, so I don't know what the goal is. Is it like, what are the rewards balanced around in terms of Covert Infiltration on its own? Is the expectation that you get 4 crates, 8 crates, 6 crates? Generally, I think I'd rather have a higher expectation. Let's say the mission is balanced around you getting around 8 crates, and then like tone down the rewards per crate so that that's appropriate. Just so that the mission is a little bit longer, a little bit more combat, and not just sneak in there, grab 4 crates and evac. Because at the end of the day, XCOM 2 is a game about the tactical combat against aliens. And if the idea of the mission is to not engage the aliens, then why am I playing it? Then I'm back to Long War 2 1.0, where everybody was stealthing missions and you weren't engaging in firefights, and everybody kinda said it sucked. Some people really like these stealth missions, but that's not what XCOM 2 is about, in my opinion. So, just go for my notes again. Yeah, so for the crate extraction, again, maybe if we delay the reinforcements, just 1 or 2 turns, reduce the individual rewards per crate so that 6 to 8 crates is kind of the expected goal, and then you have a little bit more engagement with the actual mission and not just a quick in and out, because who likes a quick in and out anyway? On the topic of supply rates, I just have to say that the reward interception can go suck a fork. I don't know, it felt like a really annoying mechanic, punishing without there being any way to counter it, really, except, you know, running the follow-up mission, which again puts some additional strain on your soldiers. And I think there was some issues also with the Fallout mission. I remember it being a facility raid, even though it shouldn't have been, and then we didn't get the rewards anyway. So, I don't know. Maybe there could be some way to counter it proactively, like spending extra intel on the mission, like just a counter for a covert action similar to that. Maybe, I don't know if the supply raids were infiltration missions, I don't think so, but if they were, we could have something like the reward interception being a negative sitrep and you just over-infiltrate more. Just some way of engaging with that mechanic without the only way being, yeah, you need to run more missions to actually get your rewards. Finally, already coming to my final point here. So there's no doubt about that the Covert Infiltration mod adds a lot of additional depth to the tactical, to the strategic phase of the game, right? Setting up all these covert actions, managing your roster, etc. That's nice. There's one aspect though, which bothers me a lot in the base game, and kind of I think is better handled in Long War 2, which is what are we doing with the Avenger and the scanning action. Go away, infiltration mission. So to me, a game is always interesting when I have interesting and meaningful decisions, right? If I go back to the comparison of Long War 2, I can scan in a haven to increase my mission detection there. I can scan at one of the resistance HQs to get the bonus from that. I can make contact with a region, build a relay, or I can scan to pick up stuff. Here it's really just, I think at most we always had one scanning item somewhere on the map, with also questionable investment and reward structures. You know, where I said, okay, scanning an intel cache for 12 days for then 30 intel is just less reward than just scanning in Reaper HQ. Then most of the time, when we're not making contact or building relays, we're just either scanning for intel or scanning to heal faster. Now, I've heard a rumor, and I'm not sure it's true, you know, we've got the Templar HQ and the Reaper HQ. Apparently, there's also a Skirmisher HQ, which nobody ever scans at, because build faster is just not an interesting choice. So here my 1 AM at night idea, why not change this to faster covert action? So basically the thing what you had your engineer in the resistance ring for that speeds up the covert actions, when you're scanning here you get that effect that your covert actions run 25% faster or whatever. Suddenly you have a much more interesting choice of what to do, where to use your scanning time for, and also address a little bit my other issue where I think covert action take too long. Getting the right number there is probably an issue. Like, is it going to be 25%, 10%, 50%? I don't know. Just really an idea that I pulled out of my butt in the middle of the night. So just you know, just to give some more choice to what we're doing here with the Avenger. Right. Let's see. Let me go through my notes one last time. I think that's all I have on my list. I just want to close this with one big thank you to the Covert Infiltration modding team. It was kind of awesome to have the guys occasionally, really like half an hour after my episode went live, I had people pinging me on the Discord saying, hey, can you give us a save game from that and that situation so we can try to fix the issue. Like a lot of comments I made on the sites were even then discussed in the Discord channel, like, hey, maybe you could make this clearer, clean up this tooltip, etc. really great, and I hope that some of the stuff that I did was helpful in a way, and maybe even got some more attention to the mods. And as I said already, I think I'll be using this mod more in the future. Not in the next campaign right away, but definitely going back to it eventually. Alright, we're at half an hour. I think I've talked enough. Yeah, feel free to share your thoughts, your ideas about this in the comments or wherever you want to like. And for now, I'm going to put a cut in here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.